Welcome to Corrective Consciousness episode 238, the podcast where we explore the inanity of pop culture. No 2021 in that at all. I am your host, vysethebold, and this is...
Lotus Prince.
And you have no trouble with the date either.
I have no trouble saying just Lotus Prince. It's very easy.
It's fun getting in trouble, though.
Well...
That bubble, that pop-o-matic bubble.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
Well, the thing is, Pop-O-Matic was not used on any other game. It was just on Trouble. Like, why would they come up with that technology?
No. It was too much trouble.
Pop goes perfection.
Yeah. Wow!
It's like popping out of his chest.
Yeah, this is a serious medical condition. I gotta go.
Ooga. But we are in another episode of Corrective Consciousness where we will be talking about our favorite RPGs as well as the ones that we wish to get into at some point or another. What kind of got me thinking about this was that there is a pretty big sale on the PlayStation Store right now, at least in North America, where they are offering huge discounts on remasters or current ports of old games, or it's basically remaster or retro themed. So they have a pretty darn good sale going on, and one of the games that is on deep discount is Wild Arms 3. And I have never played any of the Wild Arms games. At one point, I owned all of the English localized ones. So 1 through 5, and then the PSP game. I think yeah, that sounds right. And I had never played any of them, and I said to myself, at some point, you have to look at your collection when you have a collection like mine, and you have to say, do I need it all? And all the stuff that I had bought had some sort of merit or purpose at the time. And Wild Arms was one of those series that I never got into and has never been considered like a top tier one or a must play, like according to anybody, but they've all been considered to be good. People have always said that they've liked them. And I said to myself, I don't have a lot of time as it is, so I'm just going to play the games that everybody raves about, because that's what I have time for. Why play something else when I don't have the time to do so? I have a family, I have a life, and I just don't have the amount of free time that it would require to play, games that are off the beaten path that would take a lot of time to play. But I always kind of go back to it and say, you know what, I just like that setting, I like that Western-ish setting.
Sure.
That's hardly ever something that you see in an RPG, or a JRPG at that. So, I kind of just want... maybe I will go back and play 3, because apparently 3 is like the best in the series, or one of the best in the series. So maybe I'll go back and play that. But of course I'll miss out like subtle references to 1 and 2. I don't think they're direct sequels or anything like that. But kind of like in Final Fantasy, they kind of just build off of each other. But I wanted to go back to that, and but at the same time, I kind of wanted to discuss the games that I've really liked in the past that I've really, really loved. So, Lotus, you can take it from here, whichever one that you want to talk about, like anyone that's been on your list for a long time, or something that you really just wanted to talk about.
Well, probably the first time I ever saw an RPG was in Duke Nukem 3D. It's a very powerful explosive weapon that you can use to take out enemies. And
the more and more you hear about it, like a bazooka is not the proper term. It's a rocket propelled grenade.
Yeah, I always thought it was a rocket launcher, but I'm not launching rockets. I'm launching grenades. It's a rocket propelled grenade. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
anyway, the rocket is what gets it there. And then the explosion.
Yeah, it's rocket
grenade.
propelled. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty amusing.
Yeah.
But in any case, I wouldn't mind, like, every once in a while, like, it's such a middling RPG. It's more the kind of thing I'd want to tune out to play. But I do have a soft spot for Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. It's basic enough. It's baby's first RPG, but for like
that's fantastic music though.
It really, it has. It's not Nobuo Uematsu, but it has a brilliant soundtrack.
Yeah,
it's kind of like Shinobi 3. Like, it's not Yuzo Koshiro, but damn, that's a good soundtrack.
You think it was?
Kind of, yeah. But as far as like really good RPGs that I want to go back to or even get into, for going back to, I will always go back to Super Mario RPG. That might be my favorite easy RPG like ever.
It was basically made to be baby's first RPG, but it's just good.
Like Final Fantasy Mystic Quest isn't like overly charming. It's like an NES.
The characters are no big deal.
Looking. Yeah, like, it's a Final Fantasy game, but Mario is just so full of charm. The Mario RPG. But
not only that, but they kind of introduced a new like mechanic to RPGs that
the interactive attack and defense
that games to this day use. I mean, Yakuza Like a Dragon has timed button presses,
defense, and timing for special attacks. With Mario RPG, it's timing for every attack, which is kind of cool, including your healing moves. But there's also I mean, I don't want to get back into it soon. Maybe the series, but I've played Suikoden 1 and 2 now, because that's a series I've heard about for like decades, and I've never actually tried it, even though I have
them all and I haven't played them.
Yeah, I finally played Suikoden 1, and I was like, okay, this is worthy of the hype. And then I played Suikoden 2, and even though the North American localization is a fucking buggy mess, it's still like one of the best RPGs of its era. It's so damn good. So now I want to look into every Suikoden, because I've mentioned this to you before, Vice. One of my favorite things in games is starting with nothing and building up to something great.
One of my favorite things as well.
Or a full-on base. Like Skies of Arcadia, you build a full-on base out of the desert island you're stuck on.
Love that.
In Valkyria Chronicles, you don't really witness your army getting better. Your own unit, you get more and more soldiers for, but it gets to the point where you've obviously developed a reputation as this hero. You're a badass. So Suikoden, you're doing that as well. You're building up, like, you find some abandoned castle in Suikoden 1. There's like a monster living there. You're like, oh, let's kill that. I'm gonna make this my castle. Nobody's claimed it because nobody cares. I'm gonna call it Lotus Castle. Like, you can name the castle. I went with the canon name, but like, you could do that. And then more and more people come in. You have like your playable characters you can interact with when they're not in your party. They're just sitting on a chair talking or whatever.
I love that.
Some people you recruit to be shopkeepers. And Suikoden 2 is even better, because you get all of your people to join the castle. But in addition, there are also just a bunch of NPC servants. There are actually people just like working in the castle. I was like, oh shit, like, that's great.
Yeah, Skies of Arcadia has that. Even Mass Effect had that towards the end of it.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
I love doing that. So much fun.
And one thing I would like to get into that I've never touched is Ni no Kuni. That's one of those RPGs I hear is just brilliant. I've just never touched it. For some reason, maybe because I got them at a similar time, but I always just associated it with Resonance of Fate, which I did play. But like, I was like, even though those games are nothing like each other.
Oh, so
yeah,
good.
Those games are not even close to each other. But I just associate them with each other because I got them around the same time. Also, this is, you could debate whether this counts as an RPG. Maybe more not. But the Deception series, where you're setting up traps in your mansion. And in the first game,
they have RPG elements.
You could just walk up to people and smack them yourself. That's not. I think that's dropped in future games where you could just personally fight people.
Yeah, I don't. I think you're less corporeal as time goes on.
Yeah, because in the very first game, it's not your mansion. Like, the first thing you do is you walk in and you kill the master of the mansion. Now I'm the master, and then you control the traps. It's like, oh, so that's how that worked. Like,
I can't believe
somebody else was playing Deception, and then you go in and kill them, and now you're the player character.
I can't believe that series is so, like, old. Like,
it went on to PS3 fucking 4.
Yeah, that's what I
third,
mean.
but, like,
It's
what?
had some legs.
That game had no business making it past the PS1, but it, like...
5 major titles in the series.
Well, I guess if you're counting Trapped.
Well, Trapped, I mean, 4 is a direct sequel to Trapped, so you have to
I didn't
count
even
it.
realize that.
Yeah.
Because, there's 1, 2, and 3 all for the PS1, and then there's just, like, Quiet, but I guess Trapped counts. It's not called Deception 4 or whatever.
It should be.
I know. And then PS3, the game that's actually called Deception 4, and then the PS4 port of that, which I think is enhanced to a degree.
Enhanced,
but it doesn't
it has
have
extra
the
content.
instruction manual.
Yeah.
It does have crossplay with the Vita, though.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a bunch of cool RPGs. And also, I mean, I will get to it because I'm a FromSoft sucker, but I want to play Kingsfield Ancient City.
There you go.
Not that that's the best RPG ever made. That whole series is kind of jank, but it's endearing to me.
Yeah, you love it, and you love seeing where they've come from and where they are.
Also, this is very low-hanging fruit, but Final Fantasy VI, known in the West at first as Final Fantasy III, because I never actually played that through. I played a bunch of it, but I never fully played that game, and it's like... That and FF7 are like the definitive ones, but people wouldn't shut up about 7, so I don't want to play it. But
you just turned off from it.
Yeah, just I still have not watched Snakes on a Plane because I was just so done.
That's not worth it.
Snakes on a Plane memes, shut the fuck up. Same with Undertale. Old Man Stompy had to get me to play Undertale, and yeah, of course I liked it, but I was just so fucking done with the internet talking about it. So, but I do want to play. I actually want to play 6 on my own. I just can't. I can't ever find a time where I'm like, today's the day I start this giant RPG.
Yeah, there are a lot of classics that I need to catch up on, and any of the early Final Fantasies, I haven't played any of the Super Nintendo ones all the way through, and
yeah, I probably should play FF4. Yeah. In the West is FF2, but I actually really want
4, 5, and 6 are bona fide classics and some of the best in the series.
I actually have played 5 on an emulator way back in the day because we
didn't
get
beat
5 back then, but we had to it was the Game Boy Advance later.
Yeah, I never beat it, unfortunately. So
yeah, that one I actually beat.
Yeah,
the one that I beat was the one that we didn't get localized until way later.
Yeah,
I mistranslation that my character's name was Butts. I'm like, all right, who was being funny? And that's his actual fucking name.
Or Bart's, depending on who you talk to.
But FF14 makes a joke about that. There's some pun where they use butts, sit your butts down or whatever. There's some cute little thing, and you're like, that's an FF5 reference.
Yeah, I
think in the West.
I think in one of the official games that have the treasure box or whatever, they say his name is disputed. Even in that, they say his name is disputed. But I guess probably the best thing that they could do is just call him Batsu, which is what his name is. His name is.
It's like in Fist of the North Star, Kenshira's
Gutsu.
Little kid. Well, yeah, it's fucking obviously Guts, but in Fist of the North Star.
Yeah, but why is his name Guts?
Who cares? But in Fist of the North Star, Kenshiro's little kid friends, everyone thought for sure it was Bart because it was B-A-T, Bot. But no, that's it. It's not Bart.
It's just Bot.
Okay, it's just another weird thing.
Yeah, it's just a weird name.
Yeah, all right.
Bato, maybe.
I'll take it.
Yeah, it's probably just Bato. But yeah, I don't know, it's just one of those things. But yeah, I really the only RPG from that era, I've only beaten 2 of them. Well, I guess 3. I beat Mario RPG, which I absolutely love. And I beat Chrono Trigger, which is one of my favorite games of all time. I love it.
I played that on an emulator, but I think I kind of rushed through it, so I actually should go back to that.
I need to go back to it because I played it one of the uncommon ways. I actually beat Magus to the point where he didn't join my party.
Oh, yeah,
I just
thought
I defeated him at he was a boss. So and that's an uncommon way to play it. I mean, it's not a wrong way to play because there's no definitive ending to that game. I don't think because
there's something insane 13 endings.
Yeah,
maybe more.
But that's one of the uncommon paths, which is kind of funny. But it ended with a happy ending, so I was just like, I was satisfied. I was good. Um, I'm one of those people that like even on optional battles, I don't like to lose them. So like I try everything I can in order to win at them, and I had grinded well up until that point. So, but anyway, um, and what else have I? And I've beaten Earthbound. So
Yeah, that is very, very, very good.
I was actually going to say that Mother 3 is probably my favorite RPG of all time.
Yeah,
It's
Mother 3 is way up
really
there.
good. As much as Skies of Arcadia, absolutely love that game. Huge foundational work in my life, and hence my namesake. But Mother 3 is something else. It is not many video games have made me cry, and that game can do it several times. There are 2 or 3 times in that game where you are gonna have to fight crying.
Yeah, from what I remember, it got me once in the prologue.
The prologue and the
I know
ending.
you talk about one of the endpoints of the game, and like I get it, but the prologue just hit me the right way.
The prologue is heart wrenching. It's awful. And like very few games can do that to you. And that game can do it, and it's very effective at it. And it's not hokey at all. It's not even something you can make fun of or it's cheesy or anything. Like it's something like bad happens, and it like tears the character apart. It's awful. And it's a wonderful experience because of it. It's like watching the beginning of Up. It's like
Yeah.
like I watched Up for the first time in its totality last over the weekend with my wife. I had only ever seen the first 10 minutes, and the first 10 minutes is like, oh god, like watching Schindler's List. It's like like why would I want to watch the rest of this? But then that's the point. The whole point of the movie is the rest of it is something fun after that. So, but I don't know. Also, watch Toy Story 3, man.
Yeah.
That might be probably my favorite animated movie. It might be up there. I don't know. But anyway, as far as stuff I want to get back into, I mean, I want to play the SNES Final Fantasy trilogy. I have given up on the prospect of playing the NES Final Fantasy games. I don't want to play them. I don't want to go back to them.
I mean, the first one,
it's almost
like,
unplayable.
It's so basic, you don't have names, and it's just kind of like, well, it introduced a concept. It's worth it for
There's
its
no
historical
story.
value alone. Final
Barely.
Fantasy 2, nobody talks about
Nobody
that
likes
game.
it. It's
Game
considered widely considered to be the worst game in the series by everybody.
That game just doesn't exist. And Final Fantasy 3, like actual Final Fantasy 3, like NES, I don't even
Nobody
know
plays
that
that
either.
one. Nobody plays that one. And nobody even really cares about the remake of it either. It's just like, it's been done better, and it was in Final Fantasy V. The big thing about that.
Pretty good.
Oh well, the big thing about 3 was the job system was
okay. Yeah,
was introduced.
FF5 is, I think, my first experience with the job system.
Yeah. But yeah, it's I don't have any love for that stuff. Now, Dragon Quest is a different story. I feel like I actually want to play the early entries in that series. A lot of people say that like 3 is one of the best games in the entire series. So I kind of want to see, and that's an NES game. So
that must be pretty damn good.
yeah, and a lot of people still go back to 1. A lot of people consider 2 to again to be like the worst game in the series. So I don't know much about 2. 4 is a classic game. I think 5 is considered one of the best. So I really want to go back and play the earlier Dragon Quest games because I have only ever beaten 11, and I really like 11. 11 might be one of my favorite games of all time, like in general. I played it over the course of a year last year, or 2 years ago at this point, I guess. And it was phenomenal. I really love that game, and I recommend it to anybody. Like, hop on. It is a a good hop-on point for Dragon Quest, and it is worth every moment of your time. It is very, very good. At the same time, like I've missed out on a lot of stuff, because I just don't have the time. Like I've always wanted to go back and play Lost Odyssey. I hear that game's fantastic, and that was made by Miss Walker, the same people that made the original Final Fantasy games. It's considered to be a classic on the Xbox 360. Blue Dragon, never got a chance to play that either, and that's supposed to play like Dragon Quest, so how heck can it be? So, I just wanted to throw out those ones out there, and I that I wanted to revisit, and some of my favorites.
What occurs to me is something that I would also like to look into. You had mentioned like the classic RPGs going on sale, and I had seen it someone was playing in the Discord group, so it made me think of it. But I kind of want to look into Xenogears and the Xeno games in general.
I haven't beaten any of the Xeno games either.
Yeah, I've watched the Xenosaga trilogy, and I don't really know almost anything about Xenoblade anything. And Xenogears, I hear, is just so good. So I want to see where that goes.
I hear the first half is.
Well, in addition, I want to look into... the Fire Emblem games apparently starting at Awakening are where they start really getting amazing, but just because I have a nostalgia for what I saw my friend play in college, I want to play the Radiant games, the GameCube and the Wii, Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn, just because that was my introduction to Fire Emblem.
And you actually own those ones, right? You actually own those two.
Yeah, I actually I own those, Awakening, and Three Houses, even though I can't play Three Houses.
I actually own all of the ones in that have been officially localized, except for the newest one, I think.
I picked up Three Houses when it was severely on sale at Best Buy.
Oh, lucky for you. I don't think I'll ever be able to find that on sale.
I got that along when they were doing like Luigi's Mansion 3 and Mario Tennis Aces. That was when they were just doing their like give it away for some reason sale.
Yeah, I have a feeling I would really like Three Houses, but again, that's one of those games that just would take up so much of my time, and I could be playing like Yakuza Like a Dragon. To me, was like super essential to play. Like I needed to play this, and I'm so glad I played a little bit more this week. I'm just fooling around doing side missions right now.
That's the whole thing. It's so tempting to say, well, where are you in the story? But like, there's a very good chance that in 3 weeks you'll be in the same damn place because there's, even outside of sub-stories, there's all sorts of like grinding opportunities and things like that in the mini games. Like, it could take you forever to advance, like actually advance the game.
I'll tell you what I'm doing, because like everything is memorable in this game. Like all the side stories are like mini stories that you remember, which is
that's the beauty of Yakuza.
Cool.
Sometimes side stories have follow-ups, and sometimes they even have follow-ups like across games.
It's really amazing because like
even the Amon fights have continuity. They don't for Ichiban because he's a brand new character, but like Amon in Yakuza like 1 through 6, it's the same guy getting madder and madder.
But I'll tell you what's happened. I had to track down and identify a public urinator.
That's like sub-story like 1 or 2 or something.
Yes, exactly. Because like I have been like doing side stuff. Like I've been doing the collect the can minigame and trying to perfect that and all that kind of stuff. So I did the movie theater minigame where you're trying to stay awake.
Did you do like all 9 or 10 movies or whatever?
I've done 2 so far, and they're
it's all
hilarious.
The same game, but it just gets harder and harder. But like, the dialogue you hear in the movie is like whatever
so
it is.
Stupid.
It's so fucking dumb. Yeah.
That's I think that's the point, is that like even your character thinks that whatever they're watching is really dumb. And that's why they're falling asleep.
Well, no, I was going to mention with a couple of the movies, he's just like, I cannot stay awake during this. But with some of them, he'll mention like, this actually is somewhat engaging, but the seat is just so comfortable. It's like, oh no.
Well, even the proprietor does fall asleep.
Well, that was the punchline of that sub-story. Like, oh, I managed to stay awake and not insult him, and like he's asleep. Like, oh.
But yeah, the first one is hilarious. It's like a RoboCop ripoff, but with a
Yeah, like a
RoboCop
chef.
that is also a chef.
It's such garbage schlock. It's
I would
great.
watch that.
Yeah, there's a bunch of those movies where it's like I'd give it 30 minutes.
Or a version of Home Alone where it's a guy stuck at the office and he has to
That was
he
great.
has to stop corporate thieves.
Yeah, and he's announcing his like cubicle office anime moves, like printer cable attack and bullshit like that.
Ethernet cable.
That's great. What are you doing?
I love this game. By the way, it is like Chef's Kiss. This is like this. By the time I finish this will be like in my top 10 games of all time. I guarantee it.
And what's great about it is that like the characters all have such outstanding personalities.
Oh, I love it.
I've mentioned this before, but Kiryu is stoic, and that almost becomes a joke in certain scenes. Like a lot of the sub stories are funny because he's
Ichiban is
goofy
goofy as shit though.
Ichiban is outgoing and earnest.
Yeah.
And you don't like when you play with, even in the Yakuza games where you have multiple characters, you play as one at a time. Like now it's this person's part of the plot, but in
you have the whole
Like a
party.
Dragon, you actually have a party. So there's there's 4 of you together at any given time.
The last subquest that I engaged in this time around was hilarious. I laughed the entire time. So it is a veiled Pokemon reference. And
that's not so much. I guess that is a sub story, but yeah, the Sujimon.
Yeah. So he's the guy who gives you your in-game version of the Pokedex.
The way it opens is brilliant.
It's so funny. So you're fighting a Flasher, which is hilarious in itself.
That's just a regular enemy after a point. But no, what cracked me up was the way the guy introduces you to get the Sujidex, though. Where he was like, I have 3 goons you could fight. One of them's wearing a green suit, one of them's wearing a blue suit, one of them's wearing
Which
a
one's
red
your favorite?
Suit. Which one? Yeah, pick your favorite. Which one will you fight?
I was laughing the whole time.
I choose you. It's like it's so on the nose.
This game knows how dumb it is and what it's doing.
And one of
so
the things, one of the bits in the dialogue, by the way, was definitely a localization quirk. This would not have been in the Japanese version, but there's at one point you mentioned that you're going to become the best that ever was. It's pretty fantastic. Like, I'm going to be the very best. It's like, oh, come on.
I love this game. It is
there was one
so
particular
good.
There's one particular sub story I'm waiting for you to get to.
And
without even me giving you a hint, you'll probably know it when you get to it. Without me saying anything, one sub story is like weirder than most. You'll probably know it when you see it.
Okay.
They're all weird, but there's like, okay, this is weird.
I've done the pawn shop one, but that's the only one I've done.
Well, the payoff is opening the pawn shop.
Yeah, exactly. But I did you ever pick the wrong person in the public urinator one?
No, I mean I'm sure I just dialogue.
It's way better if you pick the wrong person than actually
like wacky dialogue.
It is so funny because every one of the people that isn't the public urinator, I guess you must have gotten lucky or you followed a guide.
I followed a guide.
No, followed a guide. Okay. So the wrong choices are all people doing stupid shit that could be like construed as urinating from behind.
Yeah, if you look at them from the back, yeah.
Yeah, so one of them is like a monk playing a flute, but he's also saying stupid things like that can insinuate that he's peeing while he's doing it. So like you think that he's peeing, he's just like, oh, and now for the coup de grace.
Yeah, it's so dumb.
And you're like, oh man, I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna bust him for peeing, and he's just playing a flute.
That's really good. That reminds me of like WarioWare, where it's like identify like the silhouette, and it's just stupid bullshit.
It's so funny.
Or like Rhythm Heaven Fever, like the picture isn't what you thought it was, and it's way dumber.
The other one, the next one is a guy with a fishing rod, and he's just like, oh, it's a big one.
Oh, come on.
It's so funny. And he's like struggling with it, so you're like, oh my god, this guy's really into it. And it's like, no, he's not even peeing.
It's so dumb.
He's just reeling in a fish. I did not at that point I did want to complete the mission, but I really wanted to see what the third the third wrong choice was, because oh my god, I was having so much fun with those.
Well, that reminds me is I started streaming Phoenix Wright, like the Ace Attorney, the first game, and in the
So
very
good.
beginning of the game, the judge is like, "Well, this is your first case, so let me give you just a quick little warm up," and it's really just for the player. So it's like, "So, who is the defendant in this case?" And if you ever guess wrong, the judge is just like, "Oh, I don't think I quite heard you. Sorry, what was it? Could you say it again?" And he gets the right one. But like
he acts like he doesn't hear a lot of things.
Yeah. But at this early point in the game, though, this is when your superior is like, remember, the defendant is the person who like you're representing, and da 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 da. She's like your little tutorial instructor.
You mean Maya?
Just like answer my question. So if you say that the defendant is like your boss, she just like looks at you and she's like, I gotta go home. There's a delivery I need to pick up. Just forget this.
I love Maya.
No, wait, I can get this right, I swear. And then you get like a trophy that says like turn in your badge. It's pretty amazing.
Maya's
it's so good.
Maya's a cool character.
Your boss just gives up. Just like, fuck this. This is hopefully you don't even know who the defendant is. I'm fucking out of here.
I love the Ace Attorney games. I love them
amazing.
so much. And that first one is one of the best. It's so fucking good. But Yakuza Like a Dragon. I was like, I have a feeling I'm gonna love this game, and it is blew my expectations away even more than that.
It's very, very good. It is the only Yakuza game that I have platinumed.
I don't understand why it didn't get the awards for best RPG of the year. I don't understand it. It's that.
What was the one that won it? Like Hades or something?
I understand Hades, but like, no, I don't think that one has been getting best RPG. Like Game of the Year.
Well, the Last
2020
of Us like, swept a bunch of stuff, but I forgot what the RPG was, unless it was Hades.
I don't think so.
Because like
Final Fantasy Remake got it a lot of it, and
that makes sense.
That game is good, but it's a derivative work. You know what I mean? Like
it reinvented
had
the game to be fair, but yeah.
Yakuza Like a Dragon is like it's a sequel, but it's not really. I mean,
it's a perfectly good starting point.
Yeah, it's completely new characters. Like, it has so much content in it, like story content.
Oh, yeah.
I've never seen a game have this much story content, and almost all of it is voiced. Almost every single bit. It's incredible. I don't know how they fit it all in that game.
Yeah, that first started with Yakuza 6, and then I think it fell off after a point where there's just text, because in most of the Yakuza games, important parts are voiced, but usually when you talk to like the shopkeeper or whatever, it's just like, well, they kind of do this in Like a Dragon, where if you talk to the shopkeeper, they'll have a generic hello statement, but then you read what they say, but that applies to like most NPCs that you talk to. Well, Like a Dragon still does that, but like, yeah, everything in the actual story is voiced. But Yakuza 6 tried having everything voiced, and they did not do that again.
So the Game Awards had Genshin Impact as well, Persona 5 Royale, Wasteland 3. So I forgot about Royale. But not Royale, it's Royal.
It's just Royal.
Yeah, there's no E and there's no cheese. But I still think like Final Fantasy VII Remake was also like a half game, like as well.
I know, like
on
people,
top of it all.
Like people wanted. So I mean, the game is legitimately good. But
it's good. No, I
desperately wanted to be like happy that it's here.
I'm really enjoying it. But like not like this. This is
Like a Dragon's a freaking banger. I mean, I'm biased because I'm a Yakuza fan, but it's very good.
I don't have that bias, but like I went into this and I am loving every single freaking minute of it. I love this, and it's so atypical. Like hardly any RPGs take place during current day. I mean, that's part of the reason why like Earthbound is so fun, because like it takes place during contemporary times.
And the Yakuza games are basically all that except for Zero, which is a prequel.
Sure, but like having an RPG that takes place today is like fantastic. Like it's just so much fun. or even one in the near future would be cool. But one more thing before we move on, I just wanted to say one more series that I really wish I could get into, but I just haven't had the time. The the what the Kudelka series, I guess.
Oh, Shadow Hearts.
The Shadow Hearts games, yeah.
Yeah, Kudelka's the one game I'm missing.
And you can't buy a copy of that now.
Yeah, no. Somebody actually suggested it for a Patreon request, and I was like, nope, because I don't own it and I'm not getting it.
Well, you'll PS1, PS Digital when you get.
Yeah, if I can ODE it, then I might change things.
Sure.
But legitimately getting the game, that is not happening.
I owned it for a while, and I was just like, I'm never playing this, and I sold it, and now it's worth I think it's worth over $200 now.
Yeah, it's around there.
Yeah, something like that. So, I wish I could play those games. From what I understand, Kudelka itself is not as worth it as the latter games.
Fortunately, I do at least own the Shadow Hearts trilogy.
Yeah, I hear that Shadow Hearts 2 is what it's all about. That's the second one is supposed to be is supposed to be the shit. But playing, you have to play the first one to get the second one. So it's like one of those things. But Kudelka is kind of like a false start, from what I understand. It's barely related. But it is related, that kind of thing. And the third Shadow Hearts is like a guiding game. It wasn't ever meant to be
oh, really?
A proper third title. Yeah. So it doesn't follow the same story as 1 and 2 do. Apparently. So yeah. Anyway, any last bits before we move on to fan stuff?
I think I might be tapped out for RPGs.
Okay, well, it was a good discussion. So
it was a lot.
Yeah, let's go.
All right, so we can get to comments. So, School Filmer says, maybe I should try at least one of the Resident Evil games that are on the Switch. Remake, maybe? Anyway,
Remake is a good place to start.
Yeah, that's a banger. That's where I started. Anyway, I started true Vault Hunter mode in Borderlands 2 and played more of pre-sequel. I have to say, Nisha is quite fun to play as, even if the ZR button's probably screaming for mercy, because I'm using Jacob's branded weaponry, and they fire as fast as you can pull the trigger. Oh, God. And I got quite a few chuckles out of some of the dialogue.
That's awesome.
Let's Listen to Audios says, if Lotus ever plays Resident Evil 6, I can only recommend 2-player, either with Vice or Mr. Ryu. 2-player helps with RE6, I guess. Me and a friend played multiple stories, and it was quite the slog. Yeah, that's what I hear.
Yeah, I want to do that.
That would be nice.
When you get to that point, please let's coordinate. Let's do it.
Yeah. Connor says, in response to this week's question about things that stayed the same for a long time in a franchise but recently changed, first example that comes to mind is Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. While technically not a part of a franchise, it's very much a Soulsborne game at its core. When I started playing it, I didn't like how much it changed from Demon Souls, Dark Souls, Bloodborne. Like the removal of RPG elements like leveling and the restriction to one weapon and combat style, but after persevering with it for a few hours and getting used to the combat, it ended up being one of the most intense and engaging experiences I've ever had with the game. From what I've heard, it's not so much a Soulsborne as it is, or a Souls-like, as it is like a Tenchu-like. But nobody's played Tenchu, so no one can relate. But apparently, it looks like, if you look at a screenshot, it looks like a Souls game. And then you play it, and you're like, wait, what? What's happening?
I think the game is specifically designed to make you go, oh, wait, everything I've learned up to this point, I need to throw out the window. Yeah.
So it says, by stripping out a lot of the RPG stuff and narrowing the focus down so much, FromSoft could put 100% of their effort into making an experience so laser-focused and perfect. And it paid off. That being said, I am hoping Elden Ring sees the return of the RPG elements and variety of the Dark Souls games. If it ever comes out.
I mean, George R.R. Martin needs to finish it.
Yeah, George R.R. Martin has a very good history of following up on things that we expect him to release.
Well, we know he follows up on Domino's Pizza pretty well, so...
Hey! Alright, so, Baka-sensei has a couple comments. It's good to hear you two together. I always thought that Vice was responsible for mixing the audio, drinks, podcast topics, etc.
Actually, we do double duty on that.
Yeah,
Lotus.
I do reactive. He does corrective.
Yeah, most of the time, yeah.
Yeah, I used to do everything, but it's like, nah.
Nah,
The
we're
Bleach knocked
partners.
one of these out.
Yeah.
Alright, so on RE6, I will advise to skip it, or at least don't complete 100% of the game. If you play solo, you must at some point select a second character to complete the story in the same chapter or section and grind. The grind for upgrades, what the fuck, are really bad. It was really padded to spend a lot of time on it. I mean, Resident Evil 4, you might want to get a little more money so you could buy a gun or whatever, but like...
5, the upgrades were very incremental. Like, it
Yeah.
was just pretty easy to get.
Anyway, so co-op is an option, but for me, it was worse than RE5. Maybe less listened audio's got a better experience. I played it on PS3. Yeah, that's probably how I would play it too. Because if I play it on PS4, it's going to be solo, because I don't have PS Plus, and I'm not getting it. Plot-wise, it's a new scientist that got a different strain of the virus, nothing special. Yeah, welcome to, like, the entire series. Oh, but there's a new virus. Lastly, on RE7, you can block barehanded. I remember it because in the early fight against Ethan's girlfriend while she was using a chainsaw, you could block and it didn't kill you. And they explain that you're infected, which is why you can recover. Which is a bullshit explanation, but at least video games, it's not an insta-kill, that'd be unfair.
Yeah.
You can block a chainsaw, whatever. And then Baka-sensei also says, Square Enix had some obscure RPGs that I want a continuation of, some from even before merging. It says Robotrek, but like...
Yeah, no, that's what it's called. No, it's called
Robotech?
Robotrek.
Huh.
No, you got the name right.
Yep. Okay. Secret of Evermore.
It's a Super Nintendo
Illusion
RPG.
Of Gaia. Okay. Secret of Evermore, Illusion of Gaia, others like Xenogears, or even Capcom's Breath of Fire. BF6 doesn't really count, it's mobile and really bad.
Yeah.
Now the question, Metal Gear Solid, after finishing the game you can unlock the tuxedo. Until MGS5, you can only purchase it. Thanks, Konami. My real answer will be Monster Hunter World. Until this title, you couldn't change gear mid-quest. And if you forgot an item, you had to quit the quest and redo it. Yeah. The map was segmented in areas. You had a loading screen between them. Yup. You couldn't join a quest in the middle of battle, so once you depart, there's no help. And many more things. Now, I don't know if I would get the new Monster Hunter Rise. A friend has a theory that this word is cursed. The word Rise. On another note...
Like Rise of the Robots.
What a brilliant title. On another note, it's good to know that all the previous guests on the podcast are okay. When you started the mute part of the song, I was kind of worried. Like they left on bad terms or something.
No,
that may be a petty move on our part. Actually, our friend Perry suggested doing that as a joke. Because the lyrics are Vice, Pyro, Lotus, and Friends. So if Pyro ever wasn't there, it'd be like, Vice, Lotus, and Friends. And so we just thought it'd be like even funnier if we kept doing that. Like, if I had to sit out for a week, and it's only Vice and Dracologist, it's only Vice and Falcafon, it would be just funny to have like
Vice and Friends.
Yeah, but like with that heavy pause. Or if it's the other way, where only I'm on with like someone who is not you or Pyro, so it's just like Lotus and Friends. I was like, what the hell happened? So we just thought it was funny. And we just kept running with it.
We're all very good friends since college and have stayed so.
In fact, it comes off as less of a joke because Pyro is just regularly not on anymore. But it was funny when one of us would be absent. We just have like an awkward pause in the song.
As Lotus is, Pyro and Old Man Stompy are groomsmen in my wedding. So we're in good shape friend wise.
I want to see like a weird podcast where like none of us can do it. It's just Dracologist and Falcafon, and they send us the audio files later, so it's just... and Friends.
And Friends.
Like, it starts with and. What the hell is this?
Good.
This is stupid.
It's so good. Yeah,
right,
we kind of even stopped using that intro because, like, at every single episode I would have to edit it, and it's just stupid.
You're cutting Pyro out every time, and it's like, feels bad, man.
Yeah, and people that have been listening to it even for more than a year wouldn't get it. Like,
that's the whole thing. Yeah, like,
knew.
Oh no, like what, like Baka-san say, like, like, oh my god, did somebody leave on bad terms? Like, they're just never in the intro. So yeah, it's like,
or like even what the hell is going on with this track? Why is there skip? Like they don't even know that there's
editing, even though it was deliberate editing.
Yeah. So like at this point, I'm just like, I'll just use the clean intro every time, and that's it.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. So we have a question, which we'll see how long it takes us to answer this one. But
Okay.
the question is from Baka Sensei. What do you think about the new Monster Hunter movie? And my very quick answer is I don't.
And me either. Paul W.S. Anderson is one of the worst, working directors.
Yeah, he made Mortal Kombat, he made Event Horizon, and
Soldier.
then he made crap. Oh, Soldier, excuse me.
Soldier's pretty
And then
good.
he made crap.
Yep.
Even the first Resident Evil movie, which is as good as it gets, is not very good.
Yeah,
It's like okay at best.
it's and they get progressively worse. I might add. They don't.
Well, yeah,
even
when they start
stay
introducing
bad.
like the named characters you've heard of, like Chris and Jill, you're like, oh, but they always get sidelined by Alice, who like is just the best at everything. I really hate the term Mary Sue because it's overused, but like she kind of is one though.
Yeah, and it's like blatant nepotism. He just like throws her in there because she's
It's
his
like how
wife.
awesome my wife is.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, she is one of the most classically like beautiful people and has stayed such for a very long time. I mean,
And
she
she
looks like she
fights
barely
Nemesis.
ages. She looks as good as she did in The Fifth Element, which is incredible. It's been
Where she
been
had like
30
3 lines in the entire movie.
Lilu Datas multipass. But I mean, she also has been used as a model for like in advertisements for a very long time for like magazines and stuff like that. So like she's great. I like her. But like Capcom hires him because he performs well on a low budget and gets people to show up into the seats.
Yeah, including me until the 3rd Resident Evil movie, which I rage quit after watching. So I still haven't seen 4 and onward. Although I
mean,
saw the fight with Wesker in 4, which is like embarrassing.
these movies
But I
occupy
watched
the same space in my brain that the Transformers movies do, which is
yeah,
like
I saw the first Transformers movie.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was like, this sucked. And then I heard that 2 was an abomination. I'm like, well, won't be watching that.
And they get worse.
That was it.
and they just get worse. So like
Well, I don't know. I mean, like they do, but I heard that 2 was like a
2's the
real
worst
low
one.
point.
No, two is like the absolute worst one. I've seen parts of that movie and I'm like, oh my god, like they hit
just
the
got
like
greenlit.
trifecta of like bad things to do in a movie, which is like bad shaky cam, terrible terrible character development. So like
Yeah, the humans in those movies are like the worst.
and then like the third like racial stereotypes as comedy.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And this is me not knowing how to count because here's a 4th thing, but piss joke.
Oh yeah. Well, I think that's in the first one.
No, it's the second one
Is it in the second one? Okay.
where the Transformer pees on him with oil or something.
Oh yeah, and it's not just that.
And
Yeah,
which is the movie that had the 2 dogs fucking, and that's the joke. The dogs are having sex, and that's kind of funny to me, I guess.
But what I was gonna say is, it's not just that it's a pee joke. It's that the pee joke is used in the trailer of the movie.
Yeah, that's what you're like.
And that is an indicator. Like it's like if there's a fart joke in the advertising of the movie, then you know not to go to it.
Yeah, I think we're done here.
Yeah, it's the same thing. I am okay with an occasional blue joke, that's really funny, but
If
like
it's used cleverly.
yeah, exactly. But like
Not that like the robot's peeing on him, and there's no actual joke. It's just that's funny because a robot's pissing on a guy.
yeah,
That's clever.
Yeah, nah. I mean, I'm
And there's
all
the part where
for-
the guy I forgot the actor's name. I should know his name. The guy who played the Jesus in
Totoro,
Big Lebowski.
John Totoro.
Yeah, John Turturro. The part where like
My neighbor
'cause,
John
like,
Totoro.
I think it was what?
My neighbor John Totoro.
Yeah, wow. There's a movie I want to see.
I
But
do want to
But
see.
there's the Transformer Devastator, which is like huge even for a Transformer,
Sure.
and he's got like balls. So there's a part where John Turturro's like, "I am beneath the enemy scrotum," and it's like, fucking all right. Like, oh, Vice, I don't get it. You're not laughing. What is this?
And this is the same kind of crap they did in the the Ninja Turtle movie too. The Ninja Turtle movies too. When Michael Bay did those.
Yeah, which is too bad because those movies had their moments. Like there was potential for like a real movie.
I actually hear the second one's not that bad, and I didn't see that though,
Yeah,
because
and
like the
Tyler
first one
Perry,
disappointed me.
despite Tyler Perry's reputation as a director,
I'm not
he's
going to judge
apparently a
those
pretty
because I've
alright
never
actor.
seen them. I've never seen those movies, so I'm not going to judge them.
He was Baxter Stockman. He's all right.
Yeah, I mean, he's a stage actor, so he knows what he's
Yeah,
doing.
I mean, like, okay, yeah, it's not bad.
I
Just don't make him make a Medea movie, and you're fine.
I feel like a lot of people make fun of him, and it's kind of racist. You know what I mean? Like I don't know how many people have actually seen any of those movies like that have a legitimate claim to them. You know, I feel like people make fun of him for his success. So I don't know.
I don't know. I've seen the trailers for various Medea movies, and I was like, I'm out. You're not Eddie Murphy.
He is not. And even Eddie Murphy didn't want to be Eddie
Murphy. I wasn't big on that movie either, and that's like Eddie Murphy like at peak playing multiple characters in the same scene. That's legitimately impressive. I just don't care for that movie.
Which one?
The Eddie Murphy Nutty Professor.
Oh,
like, it's a technical marvel, but I'm just not really into it.
I actually like the Clumps movies. It's incredible that he can play all those characters.
The first one, like, again, it had its moments, but overall, I wasn't into it. But again, the fact that they were able to make that movie is fucking brilliant. Like, I can't
he
believe
pulls off
those
characters as genuine
with
people.
Eddie Murphy and Eddie Murphy and Eddie Murphy, and it fucking worked. Like, that's unbelievable.
They only like me because of my farts.
So stupid.
You ever see Tropic Thunder?
Once or twice. I love that movie, but like I don't remember that joke.
So
yes, I do. Yes, I do. It's Jack Black.
Jack Black plays a character that had done basically the Clumps.
Yeah. The movie had fake trailers in front of it with the actors in that movie, and it's like starring, I forgot what Jack Black's name was in the movie, but it was exactly the same as the Clumps movie, starring Jack Black and Jack Black and Jack Black. It's like, I get it. It's starring Eddie Murphy and Eddie Murphy.
Tropic Thunder is like one of my top.
That movie's it's better than it has a right to be for what
and
it is. Like,
it gets away with a lot of the no-nos. It gets away with a lot of the no-nos because the characters are so fucking dumb that they just don't realize what they're doing is offensive.
You know what I also got a kick out of was looking at the credits and seeing Tom Cruise,
his son.
Like, I just watched the movie. Where the fuck was he? And then I learned who he was. I was like, no, that was him. It was
Those big sausage hands.
That was great.
I'm gonna skull fuck you. So good.
Like, we're talking scorched earth, motherfucker.
I love in the credits they show like the character and like their actor. They have like Tom Cruise's son, and it's just question marks because he doesn't give a shit about him.
Wow.
He's clearly neglected in the movie.
You know what that kind of reminds me of? This isn't quite the same joke, but in the movie Machete, where I forgot, there's a couple of those movies, so I forgot which one Charlie Sheen showed up in.
That's the second one.
He was credited not as Charlie Sheen, but as Carlos Estevez to run with like the Mexican theme. That was great.
Well, I mean he's really an Estevez, so.
No, I know, but like he's always credited as Charlie Sheen, and like, but now that we all know who he is, he's Charlie Sheen. All of a sudden, he's credited as Carlos Estevez. We're like, what?
Yeah, those Machete movies are like chef's kiss. They're beautiful. The second one's like
overweight, burned out Steven Seagal wielding a katana.
It's so good. The second one is like, if you need to pick a movie to represent Robert Rodriguez, like his filmmaking and everything he's all about, it's Machete 2. It's
not Spy Kids 4 with Sylvester Stallone.
That's Spy Kids 3.
Excuse me. Actually, you know my favorite thing is on Reddit, where it's like, what's a really cool like quote that you remember or whatever, and there's always someone who says, Do you think that God stays in heaven because he too fears what he has created? And then the citation of the quote is Steve Buscemi, Spy Kids 2. And so it's a way deeper quote than it has a right to be for Spy Kids 2.
They just made a sequel to Shark Boy and Lava Girl. I don't know if you know that or not.
Yeah. Yep. I'm all in, baby. Also, I don't even know how many Robert Rodriguez movies I've actually seen. Like Planet Terror, I saw that.
Have you seen any of the El Mariachi movies? El Mariachi, Desperado, or Once Upon a Time in Mexico?
It doesn't really count. I saw part of Once Upon a Time in Mexico on a plane, and I was way too... I must have been in the 6th or 7th grade or something. I was like, I don't care about whatever this is. So, like, I didn't really watch it. So,
gotcha. Desperado's like his,
now,
like...
But I wasn't into them at the time when I was a little kid.
Have you seen From Dusk Till Dawn? That's a classic.
Oh, duh. Okay, yes.
Okay, alright. How about Sin
Great.
City 1 or 2?
Oh, those were Robert Rodriguez. I saw the first one.
Okay, well, there you go.
Where Elijah Wood's like the scariest character in the fucking movie.
Oh, God.
I couldn't believe it was him.
Thank God he ended the way he did, because otherwise he'd still be just murdering motherfuckers.
Probably, yeah. Why not?
I don't think he's even dead by the end of that. He's just
He
dismembered.
is. I mean, no, you don't watch him die.
Oh, the dogs get him.
Yeah, he's dead.
Okay, yeah, the dogs get him.
But Elijah Wood, though, that was full on like Hellsing, where he's all silhouette but has the glowy glasses.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Like that was straight up like Hellsing anime. That was such a cool look. I can't believe I got to see it in live action. They pulled that look off.
He's the scariest character in the entire out of the two movies.
He's great. I mean, like there's more fucked up like stuff that happens in the movies, arguably, but he's just like instantly scary.
Yeah.
He feels like he's in the wrong movie. He's a literal slasher.
A price slasher.
Yeah, I'm a slasher of prices. Catch me later.
I thought it was too on the nose that he would be the villain.
And all sorts of secrets would come pouring out.
I love how like on the nose it is, but you're like, that has to be a red herring because it's too on the nose. It's like, nope, he's straight up the bad guy.
It's great. Same goes for like as soon as that Romeo and Juliet actress is killed.
Yeah.
He immediately pulls up to the crime scene, like where the cops are investigating it, and goes, "Never was there a tale of such woe than of Juliet and her Romeo." And just pulls away. You're like, oh, dude, come on! Like, it's so perfect.
I love that it's James Bond that's doing this.
Yeah, Timothy Dalton. That was, oh my god, that was fantastic.
They need to have Pierce Brosnan be like a super stupid villain in something.
Yeah,
I can't wait for that. Oh.
Or even in Kingsman, remember how in the first Kingsman, the guy that you thought was going to be the main character, the James Bond guy, just immediately gets killed? Like, wouldn't it have been funny if that had been like an actor for a James Bond movie? It's like, I didn't know he was in this, and just fucking dies. It was like, you know, that opening scene. Apparently in the comic book, it was supposed to be Mark Hamill, like the guy, Mark Hamill.
Oh, wow.
But in the movie, it was a professor of some importance, but he was played by Mark Hamill. So you're like, like little things like that.
You know what? I didn't realize this, but he made Alita Battle Angel too.
Wow.
And he made
Wait, who did?
Robert Rodriguez. Like
wasn't that famously James Cameron?
He produced it.
Okay.
Which I did not realize. And he made The Faculty, which I didn't know that either.
Of all movies you mention, have you seen the Mariachi trilogy? No, but I have seen The Faculty with Jon Stewart.
Yeah. Where like what is it? Aliens take over the school,
something like that.
Yeah,
it was super funny though on old episodes of The Daily Show where Jon Stewart would just mention like, maybe you recognize me from The Faculty,
or Half Baked.
The idea of bringing up that movie is just kind of funny to me.
He was in Half Baked too.
Yeah. Have you ever tried it? Puts his head super close to him on weed. It's like, is this really this Jon Stewart?
Shut up.
It's the weirdest thing.
Okay. Well, of course he was in Four Rooms. I've seen Four Rooms.
I haven't seen.
Well, Four Rooms has four different directors. That's the whole point.
Well, I haven't seen any of the rooms.
One of them is Quentin Tarantino. One of them is Robert Rodriguez. Big surprise.
Oh.
Because they're best friends.
Yeah, they did the Grindhouse movies as well, of which I've seen half, like the Planetara half.
Oh, you didn't see Death Proof?
Nah, but I did see the stupid trailers.
Death Proof is surprisingly good.
Yeah.
He also made apparently I think he produced Predators, which is the third Predator film.
That one was good.
I like that
actually good.
Topher Grace is the bad guy.
That was like, who saw that coming?
Yeah, nobody. Yeah, no, that first three Predator movies are good.
They're really good.
Yeah, the fourth one.
I heard that The Predator. I haven't seen it, but I heard it's terrible.
I hear 4 and 5 are both garbage.
Oh wait, there's a fifth. What's the fourth?
Fourth is Predator. It's the one that happens on Earth.
The Predator.
Maybe.
I thought there were only 4 Predator movies.
I'm thinking of Alien.
Predator.
Am I thinking of Alien Requiem? I might.
Yeah,
be
I mean there
thinking.
were 2 Alien versus Predator films.
No, you're thinking. I must be thinking that.
Yeah, there's 4 Predator movies: Predator, Predator 2.
Yeah, I'm thinking
Predators,
Alien versus Predator 2.
Predator.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
AVP 2 sucked though.
Yeah,
and it could have been good, but like, it became a schlock slasher movie where you like want to see the people die, and you're not like the Predator movies have never done that.
No,
like you don't want the Predator to win, even though you think he's cool as shit.
No,
but,
you
like,
want to root for the guy that's impossibly trying to fight him.
That's the thing. Like, as cool as the Predator is, you love the Predator, but like you're
not
feel
supposed
for
to
the main
sympathize with them.
But in AVP Requiem, it's like a Friday the 13th movie where it's a bunch of pieces of shit that you're just kind of like waiting to see how they die, and it shouldn't feel like that. Like, they're like intentionally unlikable characters, so it took me out of the movie.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with the first one is it's clearly like, hey, the alpha guy versus the Predator, like facing off.
Well, the Predator movie was a subversion of Schwarzenegger movies.
Sure.
Like, it opens with the conclusion of like Commando.
Yeah.
And it's Arnold Schwarzenegger and a bunch of other
you son of a bitch
who could have starred in their own movies. Yeah, and they all get killed. It's like a horror movie, and you're like, what is happening? And Predator 2, you get the idea, so let's just watch the Predator be difficult.
Predator 2 is it adds so much lore and so much like life to that world.
It adds the possibility for AVP in the first place.
That's true. Like a cameo at the end, right? A little hint.
Yeah, it was more of an Easter egg, but it became real. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Predators is so surprisingly good. They kidnap humans,
that movie
and
is better than it has a right to be. Yeah.
Kidnap humans, and they hunt them on a wildlife preserve, basically.
Yeah, it looks like they're just in some jungle somewhere, but then they look up and there's like crazy suns, and this isn't even like a plot twist. It's surprisingly early in the movie.
The conceit.
I thought that was going to be like the end movie reveal. My God, we're not even on Earth, but no, that's covered pretty quickly.
Yeah, no,
that's great.
That third movie's surprisingly good. It's better than it has any right to be.
I watched it because I'd seen the first 2 Predator movies, so I'm like, okay, but no, that was great.
No, when I saw that in college, I was ready to not like it. I was ready to not like it, and I liked it.
Yeah. I was waiting for it to be like mediocre, but I could say I've seen it. But no, it was very good.
No, I would actually own that movie. I would buy that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, Baka Sensei, I hope you appreciate our answer to your question about the new Monster Hunter movie. Our answer, by not covering it, basically actually does answer your question.
I hope to never watch it. I'm actually going to go ahead and say I hope to never watch it.
Yeah, like some people are like, I'm gonna watch it because it's so bad, but like no, like the Resident Evil movies really soured me on Paul W.S. Anderson making video game movies. Not even, and especially because the premise. It's like modern people fighting the monsters, which is like that's not what the game is.
No, the game is all about like fashion. First of all, like the entire point of the game is to grind for.
Well, the thing with
armor.
The game, I mean, I know the movie's gonna have to invent some kind of plot. The village is under attack, whatever. I don't care, but like, yeah, just like modern day military people with their guns. Fuck you.
Yeah. I mean,
the only time you get to do that is Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker, and that was as a joke.
Yeah. It was literally to be funny.
Where you fight Gear Rex, not Metal Gear Rex. Gear Rex. There's a living creature. It's fucking terrifying.
You also can like cook a ration perfectly.
It's so tasty.
It's so good. That's like the funniest thing because they have the little jingle playing while you're doing it.
Yeah, it's just like Monster Hunter.
It's
and
so
you can make
funny.
the 4-man human slingshot, which is like the one thing I did not do in Peace Walker because it's random drop from
so funny.
Gear Rex, which is an insta kill, but it's also incredibly stupid because two of you set up the stakes for the slingshot. The third pulls back the actual slingshot, and the fourth is the projectiles. You just launch him at the creature, and it just kills him.
So funny.
That game gets so stupid. It's just like the railgun, where it's a two-man weapon because one of you like cranks it furiously, and it looks so stupid. You're just like winding this Jack-in-the-Box looking railgun.
I'm so happy that game did not get like left and marooned on the fucking PSP, because it is so much better than it.
It has transfarring.
It's the Mega 64 transfarring.
Yeah, it's cross-play before that term existed, so it was transfarring.
I love how they're doing the official commercial for that game, and they literally like have to like they literally can't believe what they're saying while they're saying it in the commercial.
What I also liked was that they were doing the TV cross-play in the stupidest way possible. They were dragging this might not even exist in schools anymore.
Like a generator.
No, well, no, not even that. Like the cart that your teacher would bring in with the CRT on it. Like, we're gonna watch a movie. Like, they're dragging that through the streets to try to play their fucking PSP.
Yeah, but they had a generator hooked up to it because they didn't have any place to plug it in.
They also brought that along, but I just love the TV on the cart. That's such a nostalgic and such a stupid thing, like an outdated thing even at the time.
The funny thing is they brought it into like a grocery store, and they had the generator running and following behind it, and it's so fucking loud in a
it's clunky as hell.
They're coming into the supermarket, and everybody's like, "What the fuck are you?" Like, it's loud as shit. It's spewing out exhaust because it's run with gasoline.
Yeah.
and it's on, so he has this video game and he's playing it while walking it, and it's so funny.
It's the worst way to play any game.
And everybody's just like, "Get the fuck out of here!" Get the fuck out!
My favorite
so stupid.
My favorite supermarket antics of theirs was when one of them was dressed up as Solid Snake, and he knew some woman was on the aisle next to his, and he does the thing where he leans up against the wall and knocks on it, and the woman actually did come around to check. It's oh, and he snuck around to where she was. It actually worked. This is the best.
Oh, my favorite bar none is Final Fantasy 12, where the guy almost slugs them for just out of gay panic. It's so funny.
I'm Captain Vosh von Ronsenberg of Dalmasca.
Get away from my kid.
Yeah. I also like the one where they're doing Katamari and they're just trying to roll shit up, and someone just stops them and they're like, what are you doing? And they're like, it's for a school project. What class?
English? With a question mark.
It's what?
English?
What? It makes no sense.
And these are clearly adult men. They are not in school.
They're man children. It's freaking bullshit.
They are not teenagers.
For school? Okay, I believe you.
It doesn't hold a candle to the Shenmue 3 one before there was a Shenmue 3 though.
Oh yeah, the scripted one, yeah, where Yu Suzuki talks about what Shenmue 3 would have been, and everything is just
punches every tree on the way.
Yeah, he finally encounters Lan Di in what was it, Oregon,
and he
in a poetry circle or something.
And he rides a fart rocket to the moon.
It was gonna be sweet.
It was gonna be sweet. Yu Suzuki actually says this.
It was gonna be sweet.
And then he leaves.
Yep, well, I guess that's not happening.
And then he actually made it. But it wasn't like that. It should have been.
Did you ever see the sketch where the actual creator of Final Fantasy just wants to stop? And he's like, I'm going to intentionally take away these mechanics or add these new annoying ones. And then the Mega 64 guys keep bursting into his office. Dude, people like it way more than the last game. Make another one. He's like, fuck. I just want to retire and relax. It's very funny.
Classic Mega 64.
I'll make it so you have a job system. So you have 2 sets of XP to grind for. No one's going to like that. Sir, everyone's talking about how innovative it is. They love it. Keep doing this. More Final Fantasy, please. Son of a bitch. It's fucking amazing.
That just makes me think of Fred Ward being the Cinco concierge.
Yeah, he has to deal with every phone in the world.
He's just picking them all up.
You know what's funny is I was showing Mr. Ryu for the first time. This is Spinal Tap.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
and Fred Ward has a minor part in that.
Sure.
He's one of the guys at the Air Force base.
Sure, yeah.
And I was like, "Do you recognize who this guy is?" And he's like, "I don't think so." And I'm like, he's like the Syncophone guy. Like I use that as a point of reference.
He's also in like Wall-E. I mean, like
he's the president in Wall. But it's just funny to use the Syncophone. Like that's the point of reference instead of like that sketch comedy show being a cameo where you should recognize him from something else. Like that's what you recognize.
I mean, in Wall-E, he kind of is the punchline because it's like, that's Fred Ward. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, he's the president, and he's like, let's get the heck out of here, and just walks off the camera.
And he's like an actual like live person in a CG movie, so it's like really
that was
jarring.
bizarre.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I hope you are satisfied with our Monster Hunter discussion.
Monster Hunter, no. It's not even a series I really follow that closely. Like I have mild interest in it at best.
I like watching Mr. Ryu play it, but I'm not going to play it myself. I haven't even watched the trailer for the movie. I know it's been out for a long time now. Do not give a shit.
Yeah,
I'm not
me either.
watching it.
Nope. I'd rather do virtually anything else with my time. Yeah.
Go watch Mortal Kombat. There's a real Paul W.S. Anderson.
You know what?
movie.
The first Mortal Kombat movie is pretty great.
It's all it needed to be.
Yep.
You gather them up for a fighting tournament, they fight. Like, that's what the game is. Like, you can't fuck this up.
Soldier isn't bad either. And that's in the Blade Runner universe.
Yeah, it's great.
And I still haven't seen Event Horizon. I'm waiting for that final cut to come out. That final cut.
It was fantastic.
Yeah.
That's like arguably the origin of like the Warhammer universe.
Really?
Yeah, because like the whole
it's like Cthulhu in space. Yeah.
Yeah, the whole concept of the movie is they were able to manipulate matter to like they have a black hole power in their ship. You could use warp speed by like not warping your ship but warping space. You know, it's a concept that we've heard
Star Trek.
in other sci-fi stuff.
Yeah, Star Trek came up with it.
But by doing that, they kind of like passed through like hell, and their ship has been like tainted by hell. And then everything starts going horribly wrong.
Teleporters and hell do not mix.
Yeah, that's Doom 3 for you.
Yep, that's all of Doom.
Well.
I mean,
I thought they just found hell, like on Phobos and old OG.
They found a portal.
Yeah, like in Doom 3, they were fucking around and like, something's coming through. But like in Doom 1, I thought they were just like operating on Phobos and like, whoops. There's hell.
I mean, the story barely exists.
It's text.
Famously.
Fuck it.
Famously.
Shoot stuff.
They killed your rabbit.
Yeah, that was a mistake. Quick, what's your rabbit's name?
Fluffy?
Daisy.
Daisy, that's right. Yeah.
Shouldn't have done that, man.
And
now it's Now it's actually personal.
Now it's actually your cursor now. The bunny's head. All right. We have to wrap this shit up. We put that shit on everything. We gotta go. And that is the show for this week. We want to thank all of our fans who contributed questions. Please keep us supplied with awesome topics by submitting questions of your own via the YouTube and SoundCloud pages. Honestly, I wish I could justify continuing to record because this has been a fun segue. And
by the way, we got a couple questions this week, so thank you very much for those too.
Yeah, I just don't want to go to work tomorrow. Like, we're doing this late on a Sunday night, and I don't want to go to work. I want to sit here talking with my friend. And
I'm gonna get rough drafts to comment on, or final drafts to comment on, and they're short. They're really short, actually, like a couple paragraphs. But I gotta do it like 40 times.
My job has its stressful moments, but honestly, it's the best job I've ever had as an adult. Like by far, and I genuinely like big portions of my job, but like also I just don't want to do it.
It's like anything.
I don't want to do it.
Yeah, it's like anything. Yeah, I like my job. My job is not stressful unless I procrastinate on my homework, and like my job is pretty great. But it's like the fact that I have to do it means that I don't want to. I actually like the job, but it's like, but this is the block of time where I must go to work. Like,
See, I'd much rather sit here late at night talking about bullshit with my friend. So
yeah, instead I'm going to be sitting here in the day talking to students.
Yeah, exactly. While there, please give us thumbs ups, likes, and 5-star ratings on iTunes. You can help promote and spread awareness of the show, and any bit of encouragement helps keep the show going. You can also catch us on Tuesdays for our sister podcast, Corrective Consciousness, where we hopefully won't be talking about another economic calamity.
Yeah.
The in-depth look at this week in our lives. Finally, you can friend me as vysethebold on pretty much anything.
And you can follow me on my YouTube channel, Lotus Prince. You can hit me up on Twitter at Lotus Prince. And finally, if you are interested in seeing my videos early, like Raw Danger on PS2, getting in on exclusive live streams like Mortal Shell on PS4, selecting upcoming games for me to Let's Play.
Wait, Mortar Shell?
Mortal.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a Souls-like game.
Gotcha.
Yes. Selecting upcoming games for me to Let's Play, like the aforementioned Raw Danger on PS2, or getting in conversations with me and other patrons on Discord, then perhaps consider swinging by my Patreon account, which can be found at patreon.com/LotusPrince.
And I've said this before, and I'll say it again, worth every penny.
Yeah, thanks.
Lots of content. And
yeah.
you keep up with it, too, and you never break a promise, which is like something that, like, with the amount of releases that you have is an incredible feat. It's really cool.
Well, that's the thing. You know what I've discovered, like, as I've been doing this? Because what I used to do was announce I'm going to play a game and then hastily record it. And
do it after you've done it?
Yeah, I announced games that I'm going to play after I fucking recorded everything.
So smart.
How do I know I can deliver? Because I've already done it. You just don't know it yet.
But Lotus, how do we know if you'll upload it?
Yeah, I mean, I announce it at the point where I'm ready to upload it. I've edited either all of it, if it's short, like Raw Danger, or a considerable chunk of it, like the next Let's Play I'm going to do.
Yeah, well, one of these days, we'll have to do Frog Fractions 2. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Especially with that DLC out, we gotta play that.
Yes.
But yeah, you do a fantastic job, and
yeah, thanks.
I wish I could with my situation just like generate as much content as you, but I can't. There's no way I can compete with it. It's really phenomenal what you do. So
yeah, you find times to do it. I, for example, have not recorded anything since Raw Danger.
Mm-hmm.
I have future Let's Plays already recorded, but I haven't actually, like, I've done that stuff in anticipation.
Sure.
But I haven't done any recording since Raw Danger. I've just been, I mean, I got editing to do, but I've just been chilling as far as playing video games is concerned, which is nice. Although it's actually getting to a point where I will need to start recording again.
Well, on top of just like having my wife, and spending time with her, and like we have a.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, you have an actual social life.
But like I do a lot of things around the house, like cooking, cleaning, and all that kind of stuff too. On top of it, so it gets to be a little tough to do extra stuff like that. So I wish I could have the time for it, but unfortunately I don't. But maybe one of these days I'll put out something extra, and I'll surely let everybody know way ahead of time too.
Sure.
All right. Well, we'll catch everybody on Tuesday.
Until next time, everyone.
Bye-bye.